were chosen, roaring like a lion.
UMass on 3, 1, 2, 3, UMass, rock!
Coming in like a champion. Running like a legend.
Hello and welcome to the Clark Athletic Center Gymnasium for a very exciting Little East Conference matchup. We've got a rematch of last year's LEC title match. The Beacons took it 3-0, but it wasn't that easy during the regular season. Plymouth State took UMass Boston to 5 in a very tight match, separated by just 8 points over the course of the match in a packed full of gymnasium. The Beacons don't quite expect to have the same amount of fan support, but they hope to get a similar result. UMass Boston has won 5 in a row over this Plymouth State team, and they look to take down their nemesis for a 6th consecutive time right after this break. Perfect.
Francisco, California, number 11, Eileen G.
Mass, those very specific seminal moments in Paris, the subway. A man in a tuxedo walked in and a woman in a long gown, and it was stunning. It all hit me. It was like a lightning bolt. There was this world of beauty and style that I wanted to be a part of. That was the beginning of the journey. And that all came through the University of Massachusetts. And that was really a key moment for me. That's one of those moments you never forget.
Take a look right now at the all-time series between these two teams. It's tight. The Beacons lead at 13-11, but it's really been two different phases of volleyball. At the start, it was all Plymouth State. They took 9 of the first 10. The Beacons have taken 10 of the last 12, but Plymouth State's had more success against the Beacons than any other team in the conference. Since 2009, the Beacons have suffered 4 losses against LEC opponents. Twice to Plymouth State, once in 2011 that gave Plymouth State the top seed. The Beacons had to go to Plymouth to earn the LEC tournament title. And then in 2012, the Beacons also suffered a loss. Their only home loss during that span, 2011 to Plymouth State. So these Panthers looking to pull off another upset. Right now, we'll move along and take a look at our player to watch. It's Alex Gibbs. The 2-year captain who hasn't seen a ton of time in her career has already posted a lot of new career highs, including for sets played and matches played, new career high in kills, and she's coming off her best statistical match in her career. On Friday night against Wellesley in the 4-set match, 10 kills, 10 digs, both new career highs. She's back in the starting lineup for a 2nd straight match, looking to help the Beacons move to 4-0 for a 3rd straight season. Right now, we'll take a look at the highlights from the last Beacons home win. It was last Tuesday, 3-0 victory over UMass Dartmouth, and then we'll be back with the rest of our pregame show.
Francisco, California, number 11, Eileen G.
Athletic Center Gymnasium here in Boston. Plymouth State taking their warm-ups. The Panthers off to a 2-1 start in a two-way tie for third place in the LEC, just behind 3-0 UMass Boston and Keene State. Plymouth State will still have a chance at their Keene State College Owl rivals in a couple of weeks. That's on Tuesday the 24th, the home match. The Beacons finish off with some of the top teams in the LEC. Thus far, 3-0, but against teams with a 2-10 record. They still have to host Keene State next week and then take on Eastern Connecticut State and Southern Maine on the road to close out the LEC season. Right now, we'll take a look at some of the team statistics. Neither of these teams dominate statistically compared to some of their other teams in the conference, but it's because both of them play pretty difficult schedules. You see the Beacons hitting a little bit better on the year. Plymouth State's one of the better defensive sides, and the real question will be at the net. The Beacons had a very bad match the other night when it came to net play with just one block against Wellesley, but they do have the top player in the conference in terms of blocks. That's Sarah Doyle. Also, two very strong hitters in Claire Sporer and Eileen Sheep from the outside hitting spots. Doyle's hitting third in the conference with her .278 hitting percentage. And when you look at this Plymouth State team, it's all about their seniors. Sporer, the top hitter. Megan Bailey, one of the top setters in the conference. And Brenna Peruch, who leads the LEC in total digs and sits second in digs per set behind the Beacons' Michaela Kianco. As we move along in our pregame show, we'll take a look at the Plymouth State head coach Chris Kilmer, who's pulling double duty this year. Kilmer also the sports information contact, which as a sports information director myself, I can tell you is not easy to begin with, so you have to give Kilmer a lot of credit. Kilmer in his 7th season overall at Plymouth State took over just before the 7th season. So he has back to you right now in the black polo. Kilmer's done a phenomenal job, the second most wins in program history. He led his team in his first year to the LEC regular season title and was named the LEC Coach of the Year. Overall, 158 and 138 after 3 years at St. Michael's College before taking over at Plymouth State. On the opposite side, it's UMass Boston's head coach Michael Houlihan. Has spent 8 years with the Beacons, 5 years as a co-head coach in his first season as the lone head coach. 92 and 59 overall. He was an ABCA 30 under 30 honoree a few years ago, and he's looking to win his first title as sole head coach this year as the Beacons look to continue a 10-year run of dominance in the Little East Conference and try to get back to the Elite Eight, where they spent 3 times in 4 years earlier on in this century. Right now, we'll take a look at the Plymouth State starters. Plymouth State, well, this was supposed to be a rebuilding year. They lost 4 of their top 5 hitters, but because of some nice additions in terms of transfers and freshmen, they've really been able to keep up with the rest of the class of the LEC. Grace Sporer, the senior DS out of Medford, Oregon. She started her career at Pacific University, spent 2 years. Her twin sister, Claire, spent a year at Pacific. She's now in year number 3 at Plymouth State. They're both in the starting lineup along with Megan Bailey, the senior setter out of Canterbury, New Hampshire. Alexis Bowers is one of those players who stepped up offensively as a freshman, had just 25 kills, already with 161, good for third best on the team as a sophomore. Brenna Peruch back for her senior season, the libero out of Cave Creek, Arizona. On the year, she has 360 digs, first in the LEC, 4.56%, good for second. She's also fourth on the team with her 22 assists. Ari Linden, the junior middle out of Lena, Illinois, a JUCO transfer out of Highland Community College. She's having a very successful first year. Second on the team in total kills with 167 and leads the squad with her 232 hitting percentage. Claire Sporer, she's been a dominant player for this year, for this team the last couple of years, especially alongside Danny Tabor a year ago, who was an all-conference honoree. Sporer is a player who can do a little bit of everything. She leads the team in kills. She's also second in digs per set, second in aces, and has 16 blocks to boot. And finally, Francie Schaefer, freshman middle out of Frederick, Colorado, 28 total blocks, second on the team. She's also added 101 kills and 3 assists for Chris Kilmer. We'll let the Beacons starters introduce themselves as we're almost ready for the announcement of the starting lineups and the national anthem here from Boston.
Hi, I'm Alex Gibbs, a senior hitter, and I'm from Barracks Ranch, Texas.
Hi, I'm Rachel Maslach, and I'm a junior setter from Berlin Center, Ohio.
I'm Christina Elliott. I'm a junior setter from Camas, Washington.
Hi, I'm Eileen Shi. I'm a junior outside hitter from San Francisco, California.
Hi, I'm Ariana Casengol, and I'm a sophomore middle from Melbourne, Florida.
I'm Michaela Kianco. I'm a senior libero from Clearwater, Florida.
Hi, I'm Sarah Doyle, a sophomore middle hitter from Glendale, California.
I'm Elizabeth Clavin, sophomore business management major from Edina, Minnesota. I love being a part of this volleyball team. Volleyball is what brought me to UMass Boston. I looked at our recruiting website one last time and saw UMass Boston on it, came out for a visit the next week, and it kind of hit all the boxes that I was looking for. In a good city, good academic school, good volleyball program. It had everything I wanted. Although it was far away from home, I knew this is where I wanted to be. Winning 6 back-to-back LEC titles is really a dynasty, I think, and Terry has really focused hard on recruiting and building this dynasty and continuing to build a program that can continue to win championships, and it's really lucky to be a part of something this great. Last year I was the Little East Conference Defensive Player of the Year, All-Conference second team, NCAA Regional MVP of the regional tournament, ABC All-Region Honorable Mention, and New England Women's Volleyball Association All-Rookie Team and Honorable Mention. I think my favorite game would have to be playing in the regional championship last year. We played against a really good Williams team, and I think that match, we started off a little shaky and lost the first set. We've lost in the whole playoff season, and I think that kind of shook us a little bit. We came back firing, and we're ready to go those next couple games. Our coaches are bringing in a lot of really strong girls who want to make a commitment and make an impact in this program, and I think that is why we're continuing to do well and will continue to do well for the next few years. Being a student here has been really awesome as well. I've recently started taking more of my business classes and found that it's a good choice and a good fit for me. And eventually I hope to open my own business and kind of be successful and do what I love at the end of the day.
Welcome back to Boston. My name is Seth Orensky, bringing you all the action here on the Beacons Broadcast Network. We'll take a look right now at the keys to the match. And for UMass Boston, it's been a lot of the same. Need more from the block. The Beacons had just 1 block against a very talented Wellesley team in a 4-match loss. Wellesley hit 378, though, in the match, which is a really disappointing number for a Beacons team that prides themselves on their defense. Improved passing, a big part of that was the Beacons were out of system for most of that match. They need to do a better job on the server seed, setting up their setters so they can get some good swings, and limit Howland's service runs. This is a very specific one, but Shannon Howland has been so good from the service line that she's a player that you have to scout and you have to focus on. Howland, a sophomore setter out of Del Mar, New York, has barely set the ball this year. She has just 2 assists in 20 matches, but 42 aces, 0.63 aces per set, both good for first in the conference. She's had 8 matches this year with at least 3 aces and 5 aces apiece in both of the team's matches this past Saturday. A loss to Babson and then a 5-set victory over Endicott. And a close conference match like we might have today, that could be the difference. So the Beacons will look to shut her down. Today's officials, Ian Young is your up top official. Joseph Martin will be the down official. Mark Fernandez and Thon Mai are your line judges. Right now we'll take another commercial break, be back with the national anthem and the first set here from Beaconville.
Celebrate the soggy shoes and the slow starts. Celebrate the lessons learned along the way. These are the wins. Not the shiny, nail-biting kind. These are the last a lifetime kind.
Something I discovered in myself is that if I have a goal, and I can accomplish it.
It's a well-rounded experience.
At a Division III school, you primarily a student athlete, so the school is really shaped around you developing yourself as a complete individual.
It helps a lot that you have a family with your team that can guide you.
I'm the first undergraduate alumnus to lead this university. I'm very proud of that. I was literally able to transform my life because of the University of Massachusetts, and I want that for every single student that walks through the door.
I did receive a non-athletic scholarship upon entering school.
I got the presidential scholarship, which was huge for me.
I think there's more opportunities for academic scholarships in Division III.
I did receive academic scholarships. Just being involved on campus, being a leader, all those things combined kind of get me recognized. It's a great experience for me.
The Beacon starters being introduced right now. Right now we'll take a look at the social media. You can check out UMass Boston on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube, all at UMass Beacon. So after the match, if you're looking for some highlights or maybe a post-game graphic, that's where to check it out for anything UMass Boston volleyball or UMass Boston athletics, including some of the scores from the other games going around on Beaconville. We'll have an update for you after the first set, as the Beacon's women's soccer team was playing at Colby Sawyer earlier today. Right now we'll take an audio break for the national anthem and then be back with the first set in this Little East Conference matchup. Just about to get underway in Boston. UMass Boston in their home black uniforms with the blue numbers and white trim. Plymouth State in their road Panther greens with the white numbers and white trim. UMass Boston 3-0 in conference play, looking to move to 4-0. Plymouth State at 2-1. The Panthers nearly suffered what would have been a surprising loss last week in a 3-2 match in which they had to come back to defeat the University of Southern Maine on the road. That was on the 3rd of October. Thus far, Plymouth State's lone loss in conference play, that came earlier on in the season as they suffered a surprising loss to Eastern Connecticut State, 3-1 at home. Eastern stands tied with Plymouth State in the loss column with just one loss. Eastern earned a 3-0 win over Dartmouth last night to improve to 3-1, a half game ahead of the Panthers for that 3rd spot. Remember, the top 6 teams in the conference get in. The top 2 teams an automatic bye and a home playoff match on Thursday in the semifinals. Seeds number 3 and 4 host the quarterfinals, and 5 and 6 go on the road on that Tuesday to start conference tournament play on the 31st, actually, of October, just before the start of November. It'll be the Beacons starting on set. Christina Elliott, the junior, out of Camas, Washington, will serve as she sends a ball towards the far side, nearly creating the service ace to start, but it's kept alive in Peruch on the soft over. Doyle gets a good swing there. Another nice dig by Peruch. No help from the D, and the Beacons take an early lead on the very aggressive swing from Sarah Doyle, the sophomore out of Glendale, California, who's taken a big step up hitting-wise as a sophomore. Last year, the Beacons had 4 seniors and another talented freshman who were all pretty good hitters. This year, though, the Beacons have had to rely on some new faces, just like Plymouth State. Both teams losing well over 50% of their kills from a year ago. The Beacons expected to restock rather than rebuild. Plymouth State, a team that is trying to become in the same mold, and they've done a nice job despite losing 4 of their top 5 hitters. Good swing from the near side, kept alive by Kiyanko. Elliott, a tight set, finds Gibbs, goes back across, skims off the top of the net, none of the block, and it's 2-1 in favor of the Beacons, as we'll see our first player coming off the bench for Plymouth State. And who else? It's Shannon Hallen. So this is the player to watch for Plymouth State from the service line. She's had so much success, 42 aces as a sophomore after just 10 aces, although just a minimal amount of time, 15 total sets. And right now we will see Hallen step to the service line, sophomore of Delmar, New York. Flat diving service that, go figure, it's an early ace. Hallen picking out Alex Gibbs, and it's 2-2 through the first 4 points. Hallen a couple of dribbles and another low line drive. Gibbs handles it a bit better this time, and Elliott able to find Gibbs. Peruch pushed backwards. The set to the near side for Clairesport. Just barely gets it over with the tip. Kiyanko feeding out wide for Gibbs. Bit too strong. Her second attack error, and the Panthers hold their first lead at 3-2. Hallen has gone twice in a row to the same spot, attacking Gibbs, and now Christina Elliott's come over to potentially help the senior player. This time they go further back for Gibbs. Elliott looking for Doyle, and a nice dig from Hallen to keep it alive. Clairesport, another soft swing, hasn't got a ton behind either. Alex Gibbs down the line, and she comes up with the kill as the Beacons even the match at 3-all. Hallen will take a seat, replaced out there by Alexis Bowers, one of the team's starters, but Hallen did her job, evening the match up at 3-3 and giving her team an early lead. Gibbs, the senior out of Fair Oaks Ranch, Texas, awaits the scorer's table. The Beacons scorer's table without the student worker who typically does the libero sheet, so the down official making sure that everything is correct, along with UMass Boston Sports Information Director David Wahlberg. Hopefully Gibbs is able to avoid the service error that so often comes after a team tries to ice the server with the timeout, and Gibbs able to float that one across to Peruch. In tight for Bailey, and the Beacons able to knock it back from whence it came. To the near side for Sporer, more behind this swing, but still hasn't shown a powerful swing yet, and it's Eileen Shee off the block and down on the Panthers side for a Beacons 4-3 lead. Gibbs on the season has 3 aces in 16 matches. She saw a lot of playing time as a junior to start the year. She gives up the service error before not playing in the final 22 matches and has now found a spot in the lineup as a senior. Peruch to the bench, and it'll be Ari Linden, the junior from Lena, Illinois, to serve. 12 aces on the season in 21 matches. She's played 75 sets for Plymouth State. Doyle trying the quick swing, has it pop back on her side. She having to fall backwards and still able to land the kill, her second in the early going. The Beacons lead is 5-4. Ariana Cassingall will replace Michaela Kiyanko, and Sarah Doyle back to the service line. Neither team has been able to gain much traction here in the early going. Doyle floats it deep. Bailey to the near side for Sporer, much more behind that swing, but still looking for that first kill. Cassingall flat-footed, a great diving play there by Grace Sporer, the DS, and that'll be kept alive. Plymouth State going with the DS and a libero out there in the starting lineup as that ball's pushed just wide of the line to even the match up at 5-5. And both seniors providing a little bit of passing for this Plymouth State team. It's so important when you're maybe not as strong of a hitting team to have a lot of good passing and defense, and that's what Grace Sporer provides. 139 digs on the year, along with 23 aces and 16 assists. Bit of a delay before Megan Bailey, the senior setter, will head to the service line. She's got 18 aces on the year, good for 5th best on the team. Gibbs unable to handle it. Second service reception error for Alex Gibbs, and Plymouth State retakes the lead at 6-5. Bailey was a backup her first 2 years, but came on strong as a junior. 968 assists, good for second best in the conference. Gibbs unable to put the soft over across the net. Plymouth State has their largest lead of the day at 7-5. Bailey stands at just 5'6", and she gives up the service there right back. Amelia Chepievska, one of the Beacon's better hitters, will check in for the first time today. Chepievska, sophomore transfer out of St. Paul, Minnesota, attended South Dakota State, a Division I team as a freshman, appeared in just 2 matches. This year has played in all but 1 set. 142 kills for UMass Boston, second on the team. Ball floated backwards, but a bit too much behind it. And Francie Schaefer gives the Beacons the point. We're even at 7s. Rachel Maslach, the Beacons junior setter out of Berlin Center, Ohio, who also can swing as well for UMass Boston, plays all the way around with the service. And there's a swing from Chepievska that ends up getting blocked on the Plymouth State side. Beacons take the lead back 8-7. Neither side has been able to gain much control. And fortunately for the pace of this match, Elizabeth Glavin, the Beacons' former All-American libero, who's helping with the libero sheet today, just arrived from her 9-to-5 job. So we should have a few less pauses early on, as a couple of other student athletes who don't know the game as well we're having to fill in for Glavin. Maslach trying to keep this service game going, and she slides one in front of Peruch. It's 10-7 UMass Boston. The Beacons maybe trying to pull away right now in the early going. Plymouth State led 7-5, 5 consecutive points for the Beacons. Maslach goes to the near side this time for Bowers, and Plymouth State sends one deep. That one might have been going long. Gibbs elected to play it. What a swing from Eileen Shee, getting totally on top of the ball. And she gives the Beacons an 11-7 lead, their largest of the match thus far. This has all been on the back of the service game from Maslach, picking her spots and doing a nice job. Big swing from Sporer. It's blocked. And that's the thing for Plymouth State. They just don't have that much size. The Beacons can run 6'2", 6 foot, 5'10" out there on the front line. And we've seen the Beacons be very aggressive at the net thus far. Grace Sporer on the service reception, blocked at the net. Maslach forced to go to the back line for Gibbs, who sends a flat ball right into the net, and that'll break the run. The Beacons with 7 consecutive points, and they lead 12-8. Grace Sporer is going to try to change that. Rather, that's Claire Sporer, excuse me. And the Beacons keep it alive, but it'll be 4 touches. Plymouth State with back-to-back points. Claire immediately ready, and as soon as the whistle blows, she sends that one across. Seems like a no-nonsense kind of server. Bailey to the near side looking for Bowers. Took a deflection at the net. Maslach, the back set for Chepievska, who airmails that one into the Plymouth State bench. And the Panthers have cut it to a 12-10 deficit. 3 straight points for Plymouth State after the Beacons rolled out 7 in a row. Sporer catches the bottom of the tape, and the Beacons will take advantage. They lead 13-10, and Eileen Shee will serve. She, an honorable mention All-American as a sophomore, junior out of San Francisco, California, has had another successful year. Easily the Beacons' top hitter this season after leading the team in kills as a sophomore. Chepievska off the top of the tape. Peruch to her knees, able to keep it alive from the far side. Tipped, and the Beacons block, able to handle that shot from Jill Tyner. Plymouth State is sending a lot of soft tips and swings around the net, and the Beacons' 6-footers, Cassingle, Doyle, and Chepievska are taking advantage. She, a very soft service. That one deflected off of the Plymouth State player in front. That looks like Bowers with the ponytail, and then Peruch, and neither player able to handle it. 5-point Beacons lead midway through the set. 15-10 the Beacons lead. She, a hard service off the hands of Claire Sporer. Flex off the knee of Chris Kilmer, and Kilmer will take a timeout. We'll take a timeout along with the teams. UMass Boston 16, Plymouth State 10 early on in set 1.
Cheer for the stumbles. The he shoulda had that's. And the tears that linger. For in those moments, greatness lies. There, you will find the provoked, the determined, the unified. It's in those moments that champions are born.
Take a look at a couple highlights right now. UMass Boston has been able to turn this match. They were down 7-5, lead 16-10. Here's one of the Maslak serves as she forces Peruch to dive for it, can't quite come up with it. Then they go out wide for Eileen Shee, who's just having herself a tremendous first set. She has at least 3 kills, and at minimum, we're 9 points away from the end of the first set. She, as a sophomore, finished with 363 kills, 2.98 per set. That was first on the team. This year, she's even stronger, 231 kills, 3.40%. And this is not a player that's getting set every time. This is a pretty balanced Beacons lineup, or that's the way that Michael Houlihan wants it to be. Looking at Eileen in terms of career total, she's closing in on a potential 1,000 career. She has 874 kills as a junior and 727 digs. She nearly comes up with the ace. Peruch, a nice job to get there. And a stronger swing from Jill Tyner ends the Beacons run. 16-11 now as Ari Linden back into the match. Linden, listed as a middle, stands at just 5'7". The other starting middle, Francie Schaefer, at 5'8". Peruch, a soft service, finds the opposing libero, Kianko. Gibbs off the block. 3 players dive, and Plymouth State able to keep it alive, but they're going to be called for a lift there, an open-handed palm. That'll be called every time. And Cassingle will be replaced by Doyle on the Beacon side. Michaela Kianko back to serve for the first time. Senior libero out of Clearwater, Florida, who took over for Elizabeth Glavin after Glavin graduated in May. Kianko sends it back to Peruch. There's a swing that goes off the hands of Doyle, blocked right back on the Beacon side, but out of play, and the Beacon's lead is 7. Kianko leads the LEC with 4.88 digs per set. She's second overall, 33 digs behind Peruch for the league lead. She'll go after Peruch once again. A good service reception. Bailey goes behind, able to find Tyner, but the opposing number 6, Chepievska's there. On the soft over towards the sideline, Peruch. Bailey able to find a Plymouth State player. Diving effort from Kianko, and now Gibbs through the line. Claire Sporer, the accidental over. Kianko feeding Shee from the back line. Way too strong. And the Beacons will try to settle it down with Grace Sporer checking back in for the visitors. Sporer spent 2 years at Division I Pacific University out in Oregon before joining the team as a junior. Her sister Claire spent her freshman year with Grace before transferring into Plymouth State as a sophomore. Maslak, a great set, but Doyle can't quite keep it in. She thought it connected a bit with the block, took a second look there. 19-12, the Beacons lead. As it'll be Grace Sporer, just like her sister, no nonsense, steps the line and swings away. Good block from Plymouth State. Jill Tyner gets in there, the 5'10" junior outside from Salem, New Hampshire, and the Beacons will use their timeout. 18-14, UMass Boston leads. Plymouth State on a little run of their own, and we'll take a break along with the teams. Both teams with 1 timeout left here in set 1.
The University of Massachusetts Boston, with its scenic oceanfront campus, easily accessible to downtown Boston, is recognized as a model of excellence for urban public universities. 16 NCAA Division III sports are part of the more than 100 student organizations that create an engaging campus life in America's biggest and best college town. UMass Boston, Boston's urban public research university for the 21st century.
Make sure to stick with us in between sets. We'll bring you an update on what happened in the LEC last night. There were 2 matches ongoing. We'll also talk about what else is going on in Beaconville and take a look ahead, as well as looking at all the highlights from this first set for both sides. UMass Boston was down 7-5. They went on a big run, pushed it out to 15-10. Right now it's 18-14. The Beacons looking to avoid Plymouth State getting back into the set. This Plymouth State team has one of the best coaching staffs in the conference. Talk about Chris Kilmer, who was an LEC Coach of the Year back in 2011, but they also have Brett Sayer, longtime Colby Sawyer coach who led Colby Sawyer to a couple of NCAA tournaments. joined the staff this past spring, so that should help them as well. 2 head coaches on the staff, along with Caitlin Tedeschi and Caroline Hadjasek. Maslak looking for Doyle, and a diving effort from Peruch keeps it alive. Strong swing from Bowers, blocked and kept alive. Maslak going backwards for She. Flat-footed, not able to do much with that swing. Bailey looking for the running Linden, and this is one of the longer points thus far we've had. Great effort from Kianko to keep it alive. Gibbs finds Doyle, one hitter to another. Bailey over on 2, and that'll work. Megan Bailey, for the first time today, going over on 2, and it catches the Beacons sleeping. Nice move from the senior, who's had a tremendous career just over the past 2 seasons. Well over 1,500 assists. Gibbs unable to come up with that side out. Another strong swing from Bowers. She able to keep the ball alive. Gibbs a second effort, and she catches the top of the tape, and it falls on the Beacons side. 18-16 now. Mike Houlihan already has taken 1 timeout at 18-14 to try to slow this Panthers run. And Grace Sporer just floating it back across, waiting for a defense to set up. Chepievska, Peruch with another dig. Right at the net, tipped across. Gibbs is there. Maslak for Chepievska a second time, and Peruch will get her hand on it, but unable to send the pass towards the net. A huge side out. So the Beacons will get Elliott back in there for Chepievska. That means that Maslak will now be utilized as a hitter. Christina Elliott will be the setter. Both players equally competent. A pair of juniors who came in the same class. Elliott has had a lot of success over her career as a server, especially here at home. This season leads the team with 25 aces. Last year, 3rd on the side with 50. A low line drive off the top of the net. Great effort from Claire Sporer. And on the accidental over, the Beacons unable to take advantage. Bowers a strong swing, too much. And the Beacons with back-to-back points, a little bit more breathing room at 20-16. Looked like it was going to be an ace for Elliott, if not for the great defensive play from Claire Sporer. This time it finds the hands of Peruch. Bailey looking in tight. Linden unable to put it down. Bowers a second effort, and it floats through the hands of Maslak and Doyle. That'll bring Hallen back into the match, already with 1 ace. Looking for a nice little service run to get her team back even. 20-17, UMass Boston leads. They've led throughout most of this set. Trailed by as many as 2. They've led by as many as 6 or 7. Elliott for Doyle, punched through the block but not down. Near side, big swing from Sporer. And Kianko can't handle it. That's the player you want to get those swings from. Claire Sporer, one of the team's top hitters in each of the past 3 years. Comes into this one just under 200 on the year. Beacons lead is 2 late in set 1. Hallen picks out Gibbs, looking for another ace. Kianko races back to get it. She on the over. Peruch. Bailey near side for Claire Sporer. And she gets it past the block once again. A 1-point set. UMass Boston forced to take their second timeout in the span of about 7 or 8 points. We'll be back with potentially the conclusion of this set after this commercial break.
Division III allows you to give yourself to other things.
Having that free time allows me to pursue the things that I want to pursue.
Division III athletics affords students the opportunity to, engage in the other interests in their campus and in their lives outside of that sport.
It allows you to just be able to do everything you want to do. I wouldn't change it for the world.
Both coaching staffs going over what they want to see out of their team. UMass Boston looked like they had a chance to roll in this first set. They led 18-12. Things were going well. Well, all of a sudden, Plymouth State able to turn the tide. The Panthers have scored 7 of the last 9 points to cut it to a 1-point deficit. UMass Boston leads 20-19. Now remember last year's match, talked about in the pregame, it was as tight as you can get. Beacons dropped the first set 32-30. Came back, cruised, 25-18. Then they lost the third set, 28-26. The fourth set also went to extra points. The Beacons winning that one 28-26, and then earning the fifth set victory, 15-12. Beacons were hoping that they'd have a little bit easier of a time here at home talked about it last year at Foley Gymnasium. Plymouth State packed the gym. They had their football team out, a lot of their other teams. Beacons don't quite get the same fan support tonight, but it certainly is a Beacon Blue tinted fan section as the Beacons get a huge kill from Sarah Doyle to push the lead back to 2. And it ends Shannon Hallen's service run, which is also good news, as Hallen is such a strong server, the top server in the conference. Bailey back for Claire Sporer. She's been going to the well a lot recently, and Sporer goes way deep. The Beacons scratch out a 3-point lead, 22-19. The Beacons potentially just 3 points away from taking the set. Gibbs goes deep once again. Bailey looking in tight, finds Linden but unable to put it down. Maslak, tight angle, and they're going to say she went outside of the antenna there, giving Plymouth State the point and the side out. Linden to serve. Finds the hands of Shee. Elliott looking for Doyle once again. A laser just in front of Grace Sporer, and the Beacons lead 23-20. And they'll send out a pair of fresh faces, Ariana Kassengol and Jess Lay. Lee's a freshman who doesn't see a lot of time. Freshman out of Quincy, making just her 4th appearance as Plymouth State will take a timeout. But she had an ace the other night in limited action against Wellesley. We'll take one final timeout. Neither team has any left, and then we'll be back with the conclusion of set 1 as UMass Boston leads it 23-20.
I'm a Division III student athlete, and I know how powerful words can be. The term gay doesn't mean stupid, lame, or less than.
So I pledge to speak up if I hear the term gay used in a derogatory way or any other homophobic terms.
If you can play in Division III.
I'm a Division III student athlete, and my teammates unconditionally accepted me as part of their family. So now I pledge to do the same for others. If you can play in Division III.
Plymouth State is out of their huddle. The Beacons going through one last cheer, and then they will join Plymouth State. For Plymouth State, out on the floor right now, Francie Schaefer, Claire Sporer out there with Alexis Bowers, Grace Sporer, Brenna Peruch, and Megan Bailey. The Beacons will go with Maslak, Kassengol, Elliott, Shee, Gibbs, and Jess Lay. Lay looking for another ace. She goes so high with her jump serve, but a nice job by Peruch to keep it alive. Bailey looking for the tip, and it's tipped through. Francie Schaefer, a huge side out. So that'll bring on Jill Tyner for Plymouth State. And Lay will be replaced by Michaela Kianko. 2-point Beacons advantage with Megan Bailey heading to the service line. Eileen Shee with the strong reception. Elliott for Maslak, and Peruch able to keep it alive. Maslak a second chance, blocked to the net by Schaefer. Bailey out wide, kept alive by Elliott. Maslak will now serve as the setter, and she just barely catches the line. A huge point there. The Beacons lead 24-21. They need just one of the next 3 points to take the set. Chepievska replaces Elliott. Maslak back to serve and to set. See if Maslak can finish it off quickly. Sends it into the netting, and it's 24-22. Beacons need one of these next 2 points, and it'll be Claire Sporer. Sporer, third on the team with their 25 aces. Maslak, the jump set, is kept alive by Gibbs, but she sends it wide off the block, and now the Beacons lead again, cut to 1. It was 20-19. Beacons now lead 24-23. Claire Sporer picks out Kianko. Maslak for Kassengol, and it's over the hands of a Plymouth State player. That was Bailey, and the Beacons take a tough first set, 25-23. Right now we'll take a commercial break, and then we'll have the highlights and a look around the rest of Beaconville here on the Beacons Broadcast Network as UMass Boston holds a 1-0 lead.
Two pitch, swung on and missed.
Kyle Strowski from Agawam, Massachusetts. I'm a senior here at UMass Boston. I'm a marketing major. Probably have to say my favorite moment was my no-hitter my freshman year. Being a freshman, especially just making a statement right away. Seeing the reactions on the seniors' faces, it was something that was a lot of fun to be a part of. If you want to play and you want to compete for championship every year, definitely UMass Boston is a good place to come look at.
And now, this one's launched, right center field. That's going to win the game for the Beacons. It is down.
LEC is probably best division in college D3 baseball in the country. Play against the top competition every year. I think we have a top 10 schedule in the country this year. So we're young, but we also mix in with a good group of junior college transfers. Being on the baseball team here at UMass is a good experience, great experience. Only about 2% of people can play college baseball, and one that I'll take for me for the rest of my life.
Kyle Fields fires the first great scoop from Jason Cholin.
Welcome back to Beaconville. First, we'll take a look at the highlights from that first set. We'll bring you a couple of looks, and then we'll bring you around Beaconville, take a look at the statistics from set number 1. Maslak trying to keep this service game going, and that one might have been going long. Gibbs elected to play it. What a swing from Eileen Sheet. She, a hard service off the hands of Claire Sporer. She nearly comes up with the ace. Peruccia, nice job to get there. And a stronger swing from the line and swings away. Good block from Plymouth. Bailey near side for Claire Sporer. And she gets hands of She. Elliott looking for Doyle, wants Bianco. Maslak for casting goal, and it's over the hands of a Plymouth State player. That was Bailey, and the Beacons take a tough teams are ready to go here in set number 2. The only game going on today in UMass Boston, the women's soccer team extended their unbeaten streak to 4 games. A 1-1 double overtime tie at Colby Sawyer College. They're now 2-0-2 in their past 4. Looking at the stats from that first set, the Beacons hit .081, a little bit lower than their season average. 12 kills versus 9 attack errors. Plymouth State .061, 8 kills versus 6 errors. The Beacons getting 4 kills from Eileen She. She hit .286 for the set. 3 from Sarah Doyle, 2 each from Chepievska and Gibbs, as Plymouth State will serve to start set 2. And She sends it just wide. Now 4 kills versus 3 errors. On the opposite side for Plymouth State, Francie Schaefer, 3 kills on 6 swings, hit .500 for the set. 2 kills from Claire Sporer, who in the negatives, -111 in set 1. And 1 each from a couple of other players as Chepievska evens the match. For the Beacons, 3 aces versus 1 service error. Plymouth State had 4 versus 2 service errors. And the Beacons with 3 blocks to Plymouth State's 2. So a much better job on the block, but Plymouth State also getting involved as Eileen She gives up the service error. 2-1 Plymouth State in the early going. We'll see Shannon Howland check out. Really, she's only out there for her service. She's a player who has a specific duty for this team. She's going to look to keep it going as Howland steps into your picture. She's done a very good job with that specific duty. Top player in the conference in serving, which is nothing to mock, as she's done a tremendous job, especially consistently proving a threat. A little bit of miscommunication there between Bailey and Howland. We'll end the run, and it's 2-2 in the early going. It was a tight first set. It's UMass Boston and Plymouth State shared a couple of ties and lead changes, but after taking 15-10 lead, Plymouth State unable to come back and tie the match. They were able to cut it to within 1 twice. Kianko pops it up for Maslak, looking for Chepievska down the line, and she catches the back corner. Great swing from the South Dakota State transfer. Came off the bench today, but has been involved. Chepievska in that first set with 5 swings, had 2 kills. She's up to 3, good for second on the team with Doyle. Soft service from Kiyanko, near side, and Linden is blocked. Peruch will go out wide now for Claire Sporer. Tries to tip it, and there's a lot of miscommunication. Chepievska and Eileen Shee both trying to pass the same ball, and they nearly collide. 3-3, set 2. The Beacons took the first set 25-23. It's Ari Linden just over the net on the service, a low line drive. Gibbs from a difficult angle goes cross court. Claire Sporer is there, gets it right back from Bailey. Blocked down by the combo of Doyle and Chepievska, and both teams will send out reinforcements. Peruch, the libero for Plymouth State. Christina Elliott to serve for UMass Boston. Elliott in that first set. No service aces, no service errors in 5 serves, as there's a big piece of miscommunication there. It looked like Bailey was tending that for Francie Schaefer, but it never got over the net. Would have been a very difficult swing for Schaefer one way or another. Beacons lead 5-3. They've taken 3 of the past 4 points. Elliott again going soft. It's Grace Sporer, and there's Claire Sporer on the swing. Elliott near side for Gibbs. Off the block. Grace puts it very close to the net. Actually, that was Claire. And there's Doyle trying to flip it down, but unable to find the hardwood. Another chance. Maslak with a great leap to get up over the Plymouth State defense. And the Beacons are doubling up the Panthers 6-3. Plymouth State sits at 14-7 on the season, but they've been trading wins and losses in their last 4. Beacons have had a tough run, as Doyle able to knock down the accidental over. UMass Boston started the year 0-6, then they went off for 6 consecutive victories, then suffered a long losing streak recently, 4 in a row against Tufts, Endicott, Coast Guard, and Babson, all pretty good teams here in New England, before picking up a win against UMass Dartmouth last Tuesday, losing to Wellesley on Friday, and then earning a 5-set victory over their alums in their alumni match on Saturday. So maybe that's giving them a bit of confidence. The Beacons faced off against one of the most prolific alumni squads in program history. Had 3 or 4 All-Americans who were out on the floor and who were pretty recent grads where volleyball is still ingrained in their every instinct. 8-3 Beacons lead. Elliott having a tremendous service run despite not picking up aces, and that swing just barely catches the line. The Beacons coaching staff disagrees. 8-4 UMass Boston, with Megan Bailey looking to continue cutting into it. Bailey out of Canterbury, New Hampshire, attended Belmont High School. Kiyanko for Elliott, feeding Gibbs that time. Now the swing coming from the back line from Bowers, and she airmails it. That one catches one of our camera operators, Alicia Quinones, on the backside. And Alex Gibbs out to serve. Gibbs floats it deep. Peruch calling for it. Bailey near side, and Sporer is blocked once again. Eileen Shee goes up and gets it. Claire did have 2 kills in that first match, but she's had few attack errors, and the Beacons are really targeting her, trying to find her on the net. This time she comes through the middle with the tip, but the Beacons read it perfectly. Gibbs from the backside, and Peruch will come up on the set, looking that time for Tyner. Elliott looking for Shee, airmails it, and it catches none of the block. 10-5 UMass Boston leads, looking to make it a 2-0 lead in the match. UMass Boston took the first set 25-23 after leading most of the way. Little bit too strong on the service from Claire Sporer. And now it'll be Sarah Doyle, another player from the West Coast. Grace and Claire Sporer both out of Medford, Oregon. Sarah Doyle out of Glendale, California. These are two of the teams who recruit a little bit more nationally than most in the conference. Keene State is also in that same vein. So the Beacons thought about bringing Jess Lay back on to serve, but down officials going over the libero sheet, and I think they're going to wait till after the timeout. We'll take a timeout along with the teams. The Beacons are rolling 12-5, set 2. They lead 1-0 overall. Take a look at some highlights after this commercial break.
What separates UMass Boston from other schools is the fact that a large percentage of students commute. For me, it takes 2 hours each day to go to and from school, but every second has been worth it because the students that come here are serious about learning, they value their education, and understand where it'll take them in the future. This is what UMass Boston means to me.
While we've got a moment, we'll take a look at a pair of replays. UMass Boston out to this 12-5 start, and they've been swinging extremely well in the early going. Hit just 0.81 in the first set. Here you see the Chepievska kills. We'll take a look at that one again if we have a chance. And you see Chepievska going down the line, a perfect swing. And then we try to get over some technical difficulties. We'll try to bring you the second highlight real quick as Jess Lay will check in. And this time it's Rachel Maslak going cross court. Lay, who came in briefly to serve in the first set, had just the one swing. She has a really high jump service that's difficult for players as it dips down late. Elliott for Lay. Lay finding Shi off the block, nearly catches the head of the up official. Ducking out of the way there was Ian Young, and the Beacons lead is 13-5. Lay's a player who missed most of preseason with an injury, came back and has struggled to find time, but she can keep serving well. She's going to earn a little bit of time. Gives up the service error, and she'll be replaced by Doyle. 13-6 UMass Boston leads. Looking to earn their 4th straight win to begin conference play and get back to 500 here at home. It's a pretty short home schedule for UMass Boston. They opened on the 8th of September with a pair of losses to out-of-region opponents, University of Minnesota Morris and Marymount. Came back with wins over WPI and Dartmouth before losing to Wellesley on Friday. Peruch, a tremendous effort to keep the ball alive. Kiyanko for Maslak down the line this time, and she fools Claire Sporer. To win today, the Beacons would move back to 3-3, heading into their final regular season home match of the year. That match is the next Wednesday at 6, Senior Day for Alex Gibbs and Michaela Kiyanko, as the Beacons take on Keene State in what should be a matchup of two of the top teams, if not the top two teams in the Little East. Keene State at 3-0, UMass Boston at 3-0 as well going into the night. The Owls sit at 17-3, a phenomenal start to the year. They started at 15-0, faced some really tough competition as of late, but still, anytime you can say that you're sporting an .850 winning percentage, you're doing something right. UMass Boston below 500, but they have faced one of the most challenging slates of anyone in New England. Maslak looking for Sheik, doesn't get much behind that swing, but that was really difficult. Maslak forced to go tape to tape on that set, didn't get enough behind it. Grace Sporer heads back to serve with their team trailing by 9. First set was much closer, especially in the early going, but the Beacons have been able to take a big advantage here. This time it's Chepievska, winds up, but just a bit too strong, missing the back line by 10 to 12 inches. Grace Sporer goes soft this time, finds Kiyanko. Maslak once again out wide, down the line, and just misses. Great swing from Chepievska, but missed the line by a matter of inches. And Claire Sporer was straddling the line, making sure it was going wide. She Finds Maslak in tight, and they're going to call Maslak for an illegal touch. So 3 straight points, and right now it's pretty obvious. Chris Kilmer has asked Grace Spohr to serve soft and get the Beacons out of their offense. Chepievska for a 4th time, and this time off the block, just out of the reach of Peruch. A big side out for the Beacons as Eileen Shee will head back to the service line with a 7-point advantage. 17-10 UMass Boston leading 1-0 in the match. Shee another service error, and it'll be Howland to look to spur the Panthers right now. Howland out of Bethlehem Central High School. Maslak finds Gibbs off the block. Howland for Bailey out wide for Spohr, and that one goes down the line. Did not catch a piece of the Beacons. And the lead is back to 7 and 18-11. Bowers replacing Howland, and Kiyanko back into the match for the Beacons. Kiyanko's been one of the Beacons' better servers this year. 21 aces, tied for 2nd on the team. Strong swing from Linden, popped up. Maslak for Gibbs off the top of the tape, popped up by Bowers, and now Claire Spohr with the soft swing. Shee from well behind the 3 meters line. Great effort from Bailey, and it's popped across by Grace Spohr. Maslak for Chepievska off the block. Megan Bailey looking for Linden, and she's just wide. Would have been a tremendous kill if it had landed within the tape. Instead, it's a 19-11 lead. When will Chris Kilmer use that 2nd timeout as his team dangerously close to being run out of this set? Grace Spohr for Bailey, and it's Claire Spohr blocked to the net. Peruch for Bailey going backwards there. Difficult swing for Bowers, and she just misses the back line. 20-11, UMass Boston leads. Kilmer on the bench talking with Brett Sayer, the former Colby Sawyer coach, as they go over some possible strategy. Wondering if it's more focused on this 2nd set or set 3, as Claire Spohr unable to handle the service from Kiyanko, and the lead is as large as it's been all night at 21-11. Kiyanko out of Clearwater, Florida. Spent her freshman year down at Dunedin College before joining the Beacons, and there's a tight swing from Gibbs that goes off the hands of the Panthers and down, and the Beacons are doubling up the Panthers at 22-11. UMass Boston would love to get a nice, easy 3-0 victory heading into a very difficult slate. We'll talk about that after this set. UMass Boston has some really tough teams going into the weekend, including the #1 ranked team in the New England Volleyball Association poll, Johnson & Wales, undefeated on the season. They've lost just 1 set all year. Beacons defeated the Wildcats in the 1st round of the NCAA tournament last year when Johnson & Wales was also undefeated. Nice job by Schaefer to flick it just inside the back line. Back-to-back points for the Panthers cuts it to 22-13. Linden on the service. Flat ball that Gibbs is able to handle. Shee right back for Gibbs, coming off a double-double. She's had quite a few kills in this one. Grace Spohr pops it across for Gibbs. Chepievska catches the hand of a Plymouth State player, and then the foot of the line judge. Seen Amelia with some really good swings here in set number 2 as Christina Elliott will look to serve out the set. 23-13, UMass Boston leads, 1-0 in the match. They won the first set at 25-23. They're looking to keep the Panthers below 15 points in set 2. Grace Spohr comes on to take the reception, and that's Claire Spohr with the kill. Jill Tyner back in there. Tyner's another player who stepped up her play. 16 kills her first 2 seasons, already with 84 coming into the night. Gibbs to Elliott, and it's Shee sliding it across. Bailey near side for Tyner, blocked up. Bailey out wide for Grace Spoor, and it's she unable to handle it. 23-18, the Beacons have led by 10 or more, 3 separate occasions, but haven't been able to knock Plymouth State out of this set quite yet. Kianko for Elliott Doyle, and the Beacons have set point as Sarah Doyle just able to pound that ball down. And it'll be Alex Gibbs replaced by Sydney Birch here. Birch, one of the 3 captains on this roster, including Gibbs. Chance to get a service here, her first appearance of the match. She does have 5 aces in 54 sets this year, making her 19th total appearance. Baruch for Bailey, in tight for Spoor. Not much she could do with it. Elliott looking for Maslak. Couldn't get a ton behind it, but it's enough. Rachel Maslak closes out the set. 25-15, UMass Boston ahead 2-0 in the match. 1 set away from going to 4-0 in conference play. Take another commercial, then we'll have some highlights and a look around the rest of the conference from last night when there were 2 conference matches, both impacting the potential playoff race with still 2 to 3 weeks to go in the LEC regular season.
Paris changed my life, and I got there through UMass. Those very specific seminal moments in Paris. The subway. A man in a tuxedo walked in, and a woman in a long gown. And it was stunning. It all hit me. It was like a lightning bolt. There was this world of beauty and style that I wanted to be a part of. That was the beginning of the journey. And that all came through the University of Massachusetts. And that was really a key moment for me. That's one of those moments you never forget.
Take a look at some of the highlights from set 2. The Beacons took it 25-15 to earn a 2-0 lead in the match. In 54 sets this year, making her 19th total appearance. Baruch for Bailey, in tight for Spoor. Not much she could do with it. Elliott looking for Maslak. Couldn't get a ton behind it, but it's enough. Rachel. Set number 3 about to get underway. It's Sarah Doyle on the service line. The Beacons will go with that same lineup. Actually, Amelia Chepievsky is out there to start set number 3, so that's the one change. She replaces Christina Elliott in the starting lineup. Doyle with the service ace. Doyle out there with Chepievska, Alex Gibbs, Eileen Shee, Ariana Cassingle, and Rachel Maslak. So the Beacons look to close this one out in 3. UMass Boston earned a 4-set victory over Rhode Island College on the road in their LEC opener. Then they took down Western Connecticut State the following week in 4 before earning their first 3-0 sweep against UMass Dartmouth last week at home. 1-1 here, and Howland will be the server for Plymouth State. Looking at the stats through 2 sets, UMass Boston for the match is hitting 138. Plymouth State at -45, as they were charged with a -147 mark in set number 2. 5 kills versus 10 errors. A tremendous swing from Eileen Shee. Peruch got the pancake under it, but it went the wrong way over towards the far stands that are not out for tonight's match. Eileen Shee leads all players with her 7 kills. Claire Sporer right behind with 6 kills, but she's hitting the negatives. 6 kills versus 7 attack errors. Megan Bailey has 12 assists for the Panthers. Rachel Maslak with 11 for the Beacons. Michaela Kianko leading UMass Boston with 12 digs. 13 for Brenna Peruch at the opposite side, and the Beacons out-blocking Plymouth State 3-0 in that second set. They lead it for the match 6 blocks to 2. Gibbs for Maslak looking for Chepiowska, blocked, but they're going to say that there was contact at the net by the Panthers, and we're all even at 3. On the tip, Schaefer unable to find the hardwood, but the Beacons unable to find the setter there, and it's 4-3 Panthers. She finds Maslak. Chepiewska from the opposite side, and she's too strong. 5-3 in favor of the Panthers. They've led by as many as 2 once before in this match. That was 7-5 in the first set. Another strong service from Megan Bailey. Cassingle off the block. Diving effort from Peruch keeps the play alive. Big swing that's a bit too strong from Jill Tyner. Gives the Beacons the side out with Doyle checking back in. Michaela Kianko back out to serve for UMass Boston. Kianko had a service ace in that second set. 1 ace versus 1 error as the Panthers get the side out and they lead by 2 once again. For UMass Boston, 5 aces and 5 errors through 2 sets. Plymouth State 4 aces versus 3 errors. She for Maslak, able to find Gibbs off the block. Peruch rushes backwards to make the play. Bowers is blocked, popped up. Bowers able to pop it over her head for Bailey. On the over, it finds Kianko. Doyle able to crush another one. Sarah is having a tremendous match. She now has 5 kills, most of them coming with authority. 6-5 in favor of Plymouth State. The Beacons lead 2-0 in the match, looking to put it away in 3. Elliott's service popped up by Claire Sporer. Doyle not with the greatest of touches there, but it's going to be okay as Gibbs is blocked down at the net, but right at the feet of a pair of Panthers. And the match is even at 6-6 in set 3. Christina Elliott back to serve. Elliott still looking for that first service ace. The good news, no service errors. Bailey to the back line. Takes out Claire Sporer. Now it's Maslak with the tip right into the middle of the defense. Great effort to keep it alive by Tyner. Difficult set there by Elliott and unable to avoid the net. That was really tight off the pass from Shee. Not much that Christina could have done in that effort. Peruch back to serve. Brenna on the day only had 3 service opportunities, no aces or errors. Maslak, another huge kill from the junior out of Berlin Center, Ohio, and we're even at 7. Gibbs on the service, floats it across. Bailey looking for Tyner, cross court, and she catches the line. It'll be Grace Sporer to serve. Finds the hands of Gibbs, one senior, another, and it's Maslak once again, this time off the hands of the block, and down to even the match at 8-8. On the tip, Elliott pops it up. Doyle setting she'll just send it towards the back line. Near side, it's Bowers, has it blocked, comes right back at her face and falls to the hardwood on the Plymouth State side as the Beacons have their first lead in a while at 9-8. Doyle on the service, floats it deep. Peruch able to keep it alive. Near side for Bowers, off the block. Gibbs can't get there, and we're tied at 9. This Plymouth State team has given UMass Boston problems over the past couple of years. Last year, the match went to 5 sets up at Plymouth State in the regular season before the Beacons defeated the Panthers 3-0 in the LEC title match. Plymouth State handled UMass Boston back on October 25th, 2011. My first ever broadcast here at UMass Boston. It was 3-0 in favor of the Panthers in a matchup of undefeated teams in the LEC. With that win, Panthers have earned the only win by an LEC opponent here in Boston during the regular season since 2009. Beacons also lost in the 2014 LEC tournament, falling in the LEC semifinals to Western Connecticut State. UMass Boston trails by 2, and they'll take a timeout along with the teams, as it's 11-9 in favor of Plymouth State, but 2-0 in the match in favor of the Beacons. (11-9) in favor of the Panthers, and it's Shannon Howland back to serve. Plymouth State looking to get this third set and then hope that they can carry it into the 4th and 5th. Still a ton of time left. So it will be Howland. Leads the LEC in aces, but this time serves up a service error. For Howland today, she's been held quiet. Just the 1 ace on 8 swings, and now has a service error as well. Rachel Maslak back to serve for the Beacons, who trail by 1. UMass Boston hasn't been able to get out to a big lead in this set like they were able to do in the first and the second. The first set, they jumped out to an 18-12 lead, and then Plymouth State battled back. The second set, nowhere close, as UMass Boston cruised to a 25-15 win. Ball is tapped out of bounds off the Panthers, and we're even at 11. We were tied 6-6, 7-7, and 8-8, so a lot of ties early on in this set. Ball is tapped up there by Linden. She able to block it down, and the Beacons hold the lead at 12-11. Maslak looking to create a nice little service run and end this match a little bit earlier than Plymouth State would like. Near side, it's Sporer with another soft swing. She's very good at mixing and matching. Peruch, a diving effort to keep the ball alive off the hands of Chepievska. And there's Bowers catching the top of the tape and getting a fortuitous bounce. So it'll even the match at 12-12. Harry Linden to serve. Linden out of Highland Community College. And she serves up a service there to give the Beacons the lead right back at 13-12. Eileen Shee, who has just 21 aces this year, led the Beacons a season ago with 57 aces. She's going to race back to get that one, keeps it alive. This is going to be a very long over. Is it too long? No. What a tremendous job by Shee and Gibbs, and then mishandled by the combination of Bowers and Schaefer. That's why you never give up on the play. The Beacons looked absolutely lost on that point, but able to keep it alive. Saw a play on the NCAA Top 10 Plays. A player from Georgetown, Division I, dove right over the scorer's table to keep a ball alive. And the Bulldogs won the point. Beacons now lead 15-12, and this service run is really put Plymouth State in a dangerous spot, already down 2 sets, as there's a difficult reception from Sporer. Her sister Grace puts it across on 3. Cassingle off the block and down. And right now the Beacons can feel it, leading 16-12. Plymouth State makes the smart move. They'll use their timeout, and we'll take a timeout along with them. UMass Boston ahead 16-12 in the set, 2-0 in the match. Looking to close this one out as we have played just over an hour here in Boston.
The University of Massachusetts Boston. It's just minutes from downtown, and the Princeton Review calls it one of the best values in the country. A nationally recognized institution of academic excellence and research, UMass Boston offers more than 150 undergraduate and graduate programs, 16 Division III sports, and more than 100 student organizations. To learn more about the opportunities waiting for you at UMass Boston, visit in person or online. UMass Boston, a research university with a teaching soul.
See the Beacons bench around Michael Houlihan, first-year head coach, looking to move to 4-0 in Little East Conference play. Now, he does have head coaching experience. The last 4 seasons, he was the co-head coach along with the volleyball legend, Terry Condon. Condon stepping down at the conclusion of last year's NCAA tournament run. And who better to replace Condon than a man who had stood next to her for 8 seasons, helping recruit a slew of All-Americans and All-Region players, and helping the Beacons go through an unparalleled run of LEC dominance, at least in LEC volleyball. The service from Shee goes just wide of the back corner, cuts the Beacons lead to 16-13. We'll have an interview with Michael Houlihan at the conclusion of this match, so make sure to stick around with us after the final service. Plymouth State gives it right back to the Beacons. Megan Bailey a bit too strong. 4-point lead for UMass Boston, looking to finish this one out. Looking ahead for UMass Boston as Kianko, what a fortunate bounce that was off the front of the tape. Bounces just over and immediately dies. She picks up the service ace. The Beacons will travel to Roger Williams on Friday night. That's a 5 p.m. match, rather 6 p.m. Then they'll be right back in Rhode Island on Saturday. Take on Clark University out of the NUMAC, a pretty talented program, at 10 a.m. And then host Johnson & Wales at noon. Top team in all of New England, undefeated. And they've won, I believe, 50-plus sets going into the week. Beacons now lead 19-13. For Plymouth State, they're traveling to Framingham State this weekend. They'll take on Worcester State at 1 and Framingham State at 3 in a tri-match. That ball pops over the net, but falls just out of bounds. Then they'll host Western Connecticut State and Clark next Saturday before closing out the regular season at home against Keene State and Ryland College. So the good news is Plymouth State has only home conference matches the rest of the way, WestCon, Keene, and Rick. The bad news is they're looking at their second conference loss, dropping them to 4th, and they still have to play one of the top 2 teams, presumably, in Keene State. There's a service error coming from Claire Sporer, and the Beacons' lead is 7 at 21-14. I think in past years, this is what you could expect out of UMass Boston against even the good conference teams, but this has been a very strong showing from a Beacons team that at times has struggled with their consistency. Throughout today's match, they've looked pretty good at putting Plymouth State away. Elliott for Gibbs, off the top of the net, kept alive by Peruch, near side. And we've got a lift against, rather a double touch there against the Panthers. And UMass Boston has the Panthers in the danger zone up by 8, needing just 3 points to close out the match. It'll be Elliott back to serve. She's had a very nice day from the service line. Not a ton of aces, but doing a really nice job of just keeping the ball alive and putting the pressure on the Panthers. Big swing from Tyner, but unable to put it over, and the Beacons' lead is 9. Just 2 points away from potentially closing out the match. Elliott picks out Sporer, who on a running effort, unable to pop it up. That looked like the ball was going wide from my angle, and the Beacons now have 10 match points, leading 24-14. See who Elliott picks out this time. She'll go after Sporer once again. It pops over, and it was staying inbounds, played by Gibbs. Doyle unable to put it down. Bailey to the near side for Bowers, and it will go at least one more point. A strong swing from Alexis Bowers, the sophomore out of Port St. Lucie, Florida. It'll be up to Brenna Peruch to spark this comeback for the Panthers if it's going to come. 24-15 for UMass Boston. They lead 2-0 in the match. Peruch goes deep. Kianko for Elliott, looking for Gibbs through the middle. And we've got a whistle, and it's going to go against the Panthers. That'll do it. The Beacons win the first set 25-23, the second 25-15, the third 25-14. Stick with us after this commercial break. We'll have an interview with Michael Holohan, some highlights from set 3, and the final statistics as UMass Boston takes it 3-0.
Celebrate the soggy shoes and the slow starts. Celebrate the lessons learned along the way. These are the wins. Not the shiny, nail-biting kind. These are the last a lifetime kind.
Something I discovered in myself is that if I have a goal, I can accomplish it.
It's a well-rounded experience.
At a Division III school, you primarily a student athlete, so the school is really shaped around you developing yourself as a complete individual.
It helps a lot that you have a family with your team that can guide you.
I'm the first undergraduate alumnus to lead this university. I'm very proud of that. I was literally able to transform my life because of the University of Massachusetts, and I want that for every single student that walks through the door.
Joined by head coach Michael Holohan. I'm a year late. Coach, consistency's been the big thing this year, and consistency set to set. Today it seemed like you were moving forward with each set. Your first set was maybe your most inconsistent, but you played really solid volleyball. What was the difference today, and how much did maybe getting a win against the alumni on Saturday help you, if at all, in coming away with the big win today?
Yeah, I mean, the alumni game was great. It was fun. We got an opportunity to play some really good players, obviously, with the history we have here. So getting that win really helped. But this is the first complete game we played all year, and we have to keep doing this if we want to have the success we want.
It seemed like your service today was really strong. It didn't come up with a ton of aces until maybe that third set, but putting them out of their rhythm. What are you focused on in terms of serving, and maybe are just the girls getting a little bit more comfortable and doing what you're asking of them every day?
Yeah, I think they're a little bit more comfortable, but as coaches, we have some stats that are a little different that show the out-of-system versus in-system, and our big goal is to keep them out of system, not really just get the aces. And they understand that they're not going for aces, they're going for spot serves that'll keep the team out of system. So it was definitely good to see us do that today.
How big is a win like this? You have 3 tough matches in Rhode Island and then Keene State next week. How do you build off of a match like this heading into those 3 tough matches?
Yeah, I mean, it was great to get this win. Plymouth's a very good team, and I think it was terrific that we were able to play the way we did. The big thing is, I mean, we got 3 matches to prepare ourselves for Keene State. Keene State next week is going to be a big one, and we're going to use these 3 matches to prep us.
Coach, good luck this weekend. We'll see you next Wednesday at 6 p.m. Right now, we'll take a look at the highlights from set number 3 as the Beacons close it out.
Out to the crowd, buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks.
The UMass Boston Beacons baseball team, who went 23-15 this year, and have consistently been a leader in their conference without having a home field to play on. That will change next season.
I am so happy and excited to join Boston College High School and your wonderful president to celebrate this symbol of our institution's friendship as well as our shared commitment to this special neighborhood. Not only are we thrilled to be building a new ballpark with our neighboring teams and for all of our neighboring teams, but we could not be happier to provide more space. It's not just for us, Father Monin. It's for the youth of Dorchester and South Boston to be able to play as well. So your field will be used by quite a few of us for so many wonderful things.
But my hope is that the sound of the bat that's so irresistible to us at Fenway Park will echo through this field and will call further together the academic communities of BC High and of UMB, but especially that it will call together the youthful neighborhood communities of boys and girls who are awaiting it so eagerly.
I can't wait to put those shovels in the ground. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Carl Joseph. I'm currently a criminal justice major. I'm a senior. I am from Brockton, Massachusetts. In basketball, I play small forward / power forward, and in track, I'm a high jumper. Basketball has always been my first love. The favorite part was probably our win over MIT. Like that was tremendous. I almost came to tears just from where the program has come from when I first came here to where we are now. It's just amazing, and I love it. Honestly, I was recruited for basketball. My high school coach actually emailed the track coach here, and she walked into the gym one day and it was just like, here, you, come talk to me. And I was on the track team. It really wasn't much of a choice. It was a great honor my freshman year, just being able to become an All-American, finishing 4th in my first ever national championship meet. It was quite the time of my life. My junior year, we received our LEC championship rings from our sophomore year. And coming into my freshman year.
Take a look right now at the final statistics from today's match. UMass Boston ends up hitting 186 after hitting below 100 in the first set. They hit 214 in the second, 333 in the third. Plymouth State 0-0-0 doesn't look great, but after hitting negative 147 in the second set, hit 125 in the third to finish at zeros. UMass Boston with the big advantages in assists, close in digs. Neither team recorded many blocks in the third set. It actually ended up 8-3 in favor of the Beacons, so a much better showing than Friday. 8 aces for the Beacons versus 8 errors. Plymouth State 4 aces versus 7 service errors. Right now, I'll run you through the team leaders real quick. Don't have a graphic for that. Eileen Shee with a team high 8 kills for UMass Boston, 7 for Amelia Chepievska. On the opposite side, Plymouth State led by Claire Sporer, who had 7 kills, but also the 8 attack errors, really stymied by the Beacons block. 20 assists for Megan Bailey led all players. The Beacons got 16 from Rachel Maslak, 11 more from Christina Elliott. For UMass Boston, Michaela Kiyanko, a team-high 15 digs. Brenna Peruch with 18, the top two liberos in the conference, both having nice matches. And 3 solo blocks from Ariana Castigal, a really strong match for her as she matched Plymouth State's numbers for the entire match. Right now, we'll take a look ahead. Talked about it a little bit during the third set, and then with Michael Houlihan, UMass Boston will spend a lot of time in Rhode Island this weekend. Friday, they'll take on Roger Williams at 5, and then a tri-match on Saturday, both matches at Johnson & Wales, 10 and noon. Before UMass Boston hosts Keene State next Wednesday at 6. Depending on how things go in the final matches after that match, that very well could decide who's hosting the LEC Conference Tournament Championship on Saturday, November 4th. Right now, we will take a look at our production crew as we had a couple people filling in new spots. They all did a great job. My name's Seth Dorensky, your producer and play-by-play guy. Alex Carasoto and Tom Nolan, your directors. Josh Ruffin on replay. Sal Frascino, Kyle Penny, and Alicia Quinones were your camera operators. That'll do it from Boston. UMass Boston wins 3-0 as the Beacons down Plymouth State to move to 4-0 on the year.